Hello darling, it's great to see you again and thanks for joining me for today's video. Okay, so right now there are a lot of people who are moving into their vehicles. You know, whether it be a van, car, truck camper, minivan, SUV, whatever. And people are moving into their vehicles for different reasons. You know, like for example, well, someone may be moving into their van because they want to travel, whereas someone else may be moving into their car, you know, because they have to. You know, maybe they're being evicted and they can't find anywhere else to rent because there's no affordable housing available or whatever. And the reason why people are moving into their vehicles is not the subject that I'm talking about today. So, whatever the reason why you're moving into your van or into your car, you know, it's important to have the right essentials and the right equipment so that you can survive and you can live comfortably in your vehicle. Like for example, you know, having a heater, you know, so you can stay warm in winter. And having an air conditioner so that you can stay cool in summer. As well as having a stove to cook on. Because it doesn't matter where you live, you still have to eat anyway, don't you? And the thing is, because a vehicle doesn't have much space, so you're not going to have a lot of room to keep a lot of stuff, you know, so therefore you're just going to have, you know, the main essentials that you need. Like for example, you're going to have a stove, but you're not going to have an oven, are you? Unless your vehicle is like, say, a motorhome or a large truck camper or a caravan. But if you just have a normal van like I have, or a car, or a minivan, there's no way you're going to be able to have an oven in your vehicle, are you? And I'll give you an example by using my van. Okay, like for example, as you can see, my van here is quite a large van. My van is actually a Kia Pagero van, which is actually a medium-sized van. Now, from the back of the cab here to the end, if you can still see me, the end of my van here. So this along here is actually 83 square meters. So that's quite a big van, you know. It's big enough, it's roomy enough, and it's comfy enough for me to live in my van. But I still don't have the space to install an oven in my van. And this is what I want to talk to you about today, is how to cook in your van without an oven. So if you don't have an oven in your van or in your car, don't worry, because you can still cook without an oven. And I'm going to show you today how I cook a pizza in my van without an oven. So, because it's quite hot today, for that reason I'm going to be cooking outside. Okay, so I've got the stove heating up, I've got the skillet heating up, and it's important to make sure that you heat the skillet up first. Now, you're going to need to have a lid. So, turn that down a bit. So if you don't have a lid for your skillet, you can use another skillet on top as a lid, or you can do what I'm going to do, which is use foil as a lid. But whatever you do, make sure you heat your skillet up first for 10 minutes or so, and make sure you have a lid. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is open up. We've got Supreme Pizza. Woohoo! I love pizza. I mean, who doesn't love pizza, right? So we're using a frozen pizza today. Okay, and I'm using canola oil. I like to use the spray oil. Like so. And then you remove the packaging. Oh, yum. And the pizza fits in there perfectly. Now I'm going to use the foil. If I can get it out, that is. And I prefer to use 2 pieces of foil, but it's up to you. Yeah. So now I've turned the stove back up to high, and we're going to let that cook. It says on the packaging okay, it says it's going to take about, get off on there, about 10 to 15 minutes to cook. So I've got my spatula here. Bop, 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 bop. And so we can check the pizza every now and then. Make sure that's in the middle. Oh, now be careful, because you don't want to touch the skillet with your hands like I just did, and I just burnt my finger. So make sure you do that. So I'm going to leave the spatula, that's the silicone spatula, so it won't burn. So I'm going to leave the spatula on top here to hold the foil down so the wind doesn't blow it away. But like I said, if you don't have a glass lid or a metal lid for your skillet, you can use foil like I've done, or you can use another skillet on top as a lid. And I've seen that done too, and that works too. So just use whatever resources you have on hand. Okay, so I'll just pop you around here like that for now. We'll see if we can get you right, because I still want to keep the stove in the picture. Ooh. Actually, I'm going to turn that down a bit. Let's have a look at it, shall we? Yeah. It's starting to burn on the opposite side. See that, but it's still frozen. So I've got it a bit too high. Okay. So don't have the, once you've heated up the skillet, if you're cooking pizza, depending on what you're cooking, I suppose it's different. You know, if I'm cooking garlic bread, I will cook it the same way as I'm cooking the pizza right now. But turn the skillet up on, have the heat up on high while you're heating up the skillet. And then once the skillet is heated and you put your ingredients into the skillet, then turn it back, the heat back down to about medium heat. And don't forget to keep your eye on the time. So every now and then we're going to have a look at the pizza. Okay, so that's coming along nicely. I'll have a look at it in a minute. And I'll keep my eye on the time there. I can see the time up above in the corner there on my phone. So it's been nearly 5 minutes already. So while that's heating up, I just want to quickly mention that like I said, the reason why I'm cooking outside of the van is because it's quite hot here. As you know, I'm in Australia and we're in the middle of summer and it's boiling hot. And I mean, the heat is quite uncomfortable. It makes you feel sick. You get terrible headaches and that. So yeah, because I don't have any air conditioner, it makes it a little bit more uncomfortable. Even though in my apartment I do have 3 air coolers they come up to stand about that high, about a metre high or a metre and a half or so, which do help. But I can't use them in the van because they're too big. So when I'm in the van, I just use a few USB mini air conditioners which help too. And I'll just have a look at this and see how it goes. So that's coming along nicely, yeah. So, like I said, I'll just use a few. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got 5 actually, USB mini air conditioners which I use in the van, and they do help. But, however, when it's really hot, they don't help as much as I would like them to. Even if I'm using the whole 5 of them, and I have them spread out in the van. So anyway, this morning I received in the mail, I bought a new 12-volt fridge and freezer for my van, as well as a mini ice maker. Woohoo! So that means now I can have all the ice that I want, and I don't have to worry about running out of ice anymore. And that's a bit of a game changer for me, because I now have got all the ice that I need to use in the air coolers at home, as well as in the USB mini air conditioners in my van. And because I've now got the 12-volt fridge and freezer, that means that now I can have cold water, I can have ice in my van, which is going to help a lot. So, I suppose it doesn't sound like much, but it does make it, I've noticed that it does make a big difference comfort-wise, because having all the ice that I need now, that ice maker is a real game changer, so that's helping. And like I said in my last video, is that I'm just going to check on the pizza. It's coming along, come on this side, it's coming along really good now. We'll give that a few more minutes. Oh my God, that tastes awesome. I love how that tastes. So yeah, so like I mentioned in my last video, is that I'm now decided to go back to work, part-time, working for the home health services, because I'm a support worker. I took a couple of years off work because I wasn't well at that point in time. And, because what happened was that was my dream job, and I was so happy. And then one day I got sexually assaulted by one of my male clients, and all of a sudden I just went back to square one with my trauma and anxiety and depression and stuff, and I couldn't work, I couldn't get out of bed. And that took me 2 years to get over, and now that I'm feeling better and I need the money, so I've decided to go back to work. But this time I'm going to say to my boss, I'm not going to work for any male clients, only female clients from now on. And the first paycheck that I get, depending on how much I earn, because the money's really good, but it also depends on how many hours you work too. So as soon as I get enough money to buy a good portable air conditioner, that's what I'm going to do, because then that way I can use that portable air conditioner in both my apartment as well as in my van here. And that will be a game changer too. And I still need to get the air conditioner in my van fixed, because that's not working. But I have to wait until my mechanic gets back from holidays, like I mentioned in my last video, before I can get that fixed. So once I get back to work, then I'll have the money to do everything that I need, and that's going to make life a lot more better, a lot more easier, and I will be able to get things done a lot quicker just by going back to work. And like I said, I need the money now, so what's the point in waiting for my inheritance, because who knows how long that's going to be. So, okay, let's check the picture again. Beautiful. So that's coming along nicely, and it tastes delicious. Oh my God, I can't wait to eat. I love pizza. Woo! Pizza, pizza, pizza. I mean, who doesn't love pizza, right? Oh my God, I could live on pizza if I want to. Hawaiian is my favorite. Let me know in the comment section what's your favorite pizza. Yeah, so if you don't have an oven in your van, don't worry, because you can still cook with your stove like as if you're cooking in an oven. But like I said, if you're using your skillet, you're going to need to have a lid. So make sure you have a proper lid, or use another skillet. If you don't have them, just use foil like what I'm doing. Like I said, 2 pieces of foil, even 3 works better than 1 piece of foil, but you will find that having a proper lid or using another skillet as a lid will work better than the foil. And if you're using your gas stove in your van, make sure you always use safety precaution, and make sure you have plenty of ventilation, especially if you're using a gas oven, a gas stove like what I'm using now. And I bought this stove from Shein. I think it was about $45 if I remember right. That's AUD. And even though it's a small stove, it still puts out 8,000, what's the word? I can't remember what it's called now. But you know what I'm talking about. Beautiful. Beautiful. So yeah, so you can also buy a pizza oven that sits on top of your stove. So that's another option you can do. I can't remember the name of the brand, but there's another oven that you can buy which sits on top of the stove. It's a round oven. You're going to have to Google. I was thinking about getting one for my van, and they're a good idea too. They're round and it's got a hole in the middle, so it looks like a donut type of thing. So yeah, there's a few different ovens that you can buy that sits on top of your stove, so you can cook different meals. So again, you're going to need to do your research on Google. Look at Amazon and Temu, eBay and other online stores, but there's another option too. And I also have a 12-volt Road Pro roaster as well, which I prefer to use in my van because they're safer and they're a great way to cook meals too, or if we just want to reheat our meal. And the reason why I like them is because they're safer, because I just plug it into my portable power station, and you can cook anything in a 12-volt roaster. You can cook rice and make special fried rice, or you can cook chicken and make chicken parmesan. There's so many things that you can do. But the only thing is, because it's not that big, you can only cook so much at a time. And but, if there's only one person, like for example, for me, there's only me, I'm only cooking for myself, that works out perfect for me. So it's like about a meal for one person. So there's another options for you. So I'm going to check the picture again. Yum, yum, yum. I might turn that up just a little bit more. Yeah, so make sure, depending on what you're cooking, like the pizza, for example, or garlic bread, I would recommend having the heat like medium high, but not actually high though. And so this is how I cook in my van when I want to use an oven, like when I want to cook garlic bread or pizza or whatever. And because like I said, I don't have, even though my van is quite big, it's a decent medium-sized van, but I don't have the room for an oven, even a small oven like a toaster oven. And because there's not a lot of space in the vehicle, especially a minivan or a car, and if you're going to be living in your vehicle, especially if you're going to be moving into your vehicle full time, you're just going to need to use the, just have the main essentials that you're going to need, like a stove, a heater, an air conditioner, etc. Because you don't want to be wasting space on things that you don't need or things that you're not going to use often. Because if you don't use it at home, you're not going to use it in your van or in your car, are you? And if you have something in your van that you've only used once or twice a year, then what's the point in having it in your van? Because that's just wasting up valuable space. And and you still need to have space to move around in your van, as I've noticed, because when I first moved into my van, I thought, okay, I'm going to need this and I'm going to need that, and I've got enough room to put this and to put that. And then when I actually hopped in my van, I realized, oh no, Now I don't have enough space for me to move around. You see what I mean? So it's also important that you still have enough space for yourself. Okay, so let's chip the pizza, shall we? Okay. Okay, the pizza is coming along nicely, and it tastes delicious. I love Supreme, I love Hawaiian, oh my god. I love so many different types of pizza. Pizza, 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 woohoo, pizza. Oh, don't worry about me, I'm just being silly. But you'll notice that when you're cooking, it's going to take a little bit longer than what it usually would in an oven. Like for example, this pizza would normally take in my oven, in my apartment, would take about 14 to 15 minutes. You know, that's after you preheat the oven, of course. Whereas, even though I'm cooking it this way, which still works just as well, however, it's going to take a little bit longer to cook. But that's okay, because we will get there eventually, and we're going to have pizza for lunch. Oh my god. I could live on pizza for breakfast, lunch and dinner all day, every day. Oh my god. Pizza. Yum yum. Mmm. Do you like licking the spoon? I do. Look at that. Oh my god, beautiful. Nice and crispy. Mmm. They're my favorite foods. Okay. Mmm. Yum. Okay, so I've just turned the oven. Oh my god, I mean the stove off now. And I got my pizza cutter. Time to cut the pizza. Okay, so look at that. Voila. And you know what? Mmm. I need to let it cool down a bit because it's a bit hot. But I can't believe I'm saying this, but cooking the pizza this way has actually turned out better than how it usually does when I cook it in the oven at home. So I think I might stick with cooking the pizza from this way from now on. So let's give it a try, shall we? Want a bite? Mmm. Mm-hmm. Mmm. Oh my god. I'm really happy with the way that's turned out. Um, mm, mm. Oh, that's good. Mm-hmm. Mm. Yum. Yum, 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 yum. So, this is how you cook in your van without an oven. So whether you're going to be cooking like pizza or pasta or whatever, garlic bread, this is how I cook in my van without an oven. And I thought I should make a video about, how to cook in your van without an oven, because I know that there are a lot of people who are moving into their cars and their vans right now, like I mentioned earlier. And I thought, well, I don't know if they know how to cook in their vans or their vehicles without an oven or not. So I thought I should make a video about it anyway. I mean, at least it gives you material, for a video. If you can't think of something to make a video about, just come up with anything, like how to, cook in your van without an oven. But, I'm really happy. I'm really happy with how the pizza's turned out. So we're having pizza for lunch. And so I hope you found this video helpful in some way. So if you're moving into your car or your van for whatever reason, and you're going to be living in your vehicle full time for a while, and if you have a minivan or a car or something like that, and you don't have the room for an oven, don't worry, because you can still cook in your van or in your car without an oven, and your food will still come out just as good, if not better, like I've just found out with the pizza today. So I thought I'd show you how I cook in my van without an oven. And like I said just before I go, especially if you're cooking in your van with a gas oven, a gas stove like I am, make sure you have plenty of ventilation, like if your window open or keep a side door open or both. And make sure that you have plenty of safety precautions. So what you do is you set up your safety precautions first before you start cooking. Like for example, here is my fire blanket. Always make sure you have a fire blanket in your vehicle. You can even have a fire extinguisher, but make sure you always have one of these. And what you do is you take this out of the packaging and you open up the fire blanket. Like have it folded, of course, and have it, have it like an armed race, like it would on the bed or on the bench or, or wherever you can reach it, because especially if you're cooking with the gas stove, because fire spreads really quickly, as you know, and my motto is prevention is better than cure. So it's there in case you need it. So if you've got your gas stove going, and if something happens, at least you can quickly grab the fire blanket and you can just quickly put it straight onto your gas stove if need be. And that could save you your life, it could save you your vehicle, you know. So always use common sense. It's really important to use common sense. And make sure you do this every time you cook in your stand with a gas stove. And because anything can happen at any time. And this is where you need to be really, really careful. And so if you follow those few simple safety rules, this should be fine. And it's also a good idea to make sure that you have like a placemat or something, or a piece of board or something underneath your gas stove, just to give, you know, that little bit of extra protection, because they can get quite hot, you know. And if you've just got the gas stove on top of the table, you know, even though the table probably won't get burnt, but if you have like a piece of wood or a silica mat or something like that, you know, on top of your table or bench, but underneath your gas stove, just for extra precautions. I mean, it doesn't hurt, does it, just to use these little safety precautions, because, you know, this could be the difference between life and death, or injury, or your vehicle, or whatever. So I thought I should just mention that anyway, because it's really important to use common sense and to use safety precautions and to have plenty of ventilation when you're using a gas stove in your van. Okay, so I'm going to put this over here for now. Okay, so this video is now going for 43 minutes. That's long enough. I wasn't expecting it to go on that long, but it has. So I'm going to turn this video into a short as well. So I hope you found this video helpful in some way. And please subscribe to my channel to support me. And don't forget to give my videos a thumbs up. So I will see you guys in the next video, which is actually going to do a review about my new 12-volt car fridge and freezer, as well as my new mini ice maker. So that's going to be my next video. So if you're interested in buying an ice maker or a 12-volt car fridge freezer for your van, well, you can check out my next video, because that's what it's going to be about. Okay, so I'll see you guys then. So until then, please take care, and please drive safely. Bye-bye, darling.